Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts, and today we have with us the Mahlkönig X54. It's a brand new grinder being released, and it's the first time Mahlkonig's done a home machine. People have been asking for it, and finally they've delivered. The Mahlkönig X54. Now this is their first home grinder from the Mahlkonig brand, and it's a pretty special grinder. Obviously the famous grinder is the X54, which we'll talk about its history later, as quite a long history. Now this home grinder is simple to use and sits on the higher end of home grinders, so along the lines of the Eureka Minion XL or the Mazid Mini E, etc. With this grinder, you've got a stepless grind adjustment, so 60 notches but stepless. You've got 4 grind settings for 4 different times, or a grind on demand, and a portafilter support that holds your portafilter. Now with the support, it's easily to remove, and you can adjust the portafilter height, so just say between a normal portafilter, a Lamazocco portafilter with a support, or naked. I think the annoying part would be too, if you're trying to use more than one portafilters, to adjust between the two could be a little bit awkward. So if we turn off the grinder there at the rear, you can actually press this button and remove the support, and that's when you'll adjust it. You can loosen that screw and adjust the height between portafilters. Now, it has this support, but it also has a support if you're running the filter coffee cup. So to run, just say your AeroPress or filter coffee, the grinder will go from espresso all the way to a coarse filter. You can also use, instead of using one of these cups, you could buy a dosing cup like this, in which you could grind into the cup and then run it into your portafilter. A very common way of doing it, especially on EKs, on the bigger brothers. That's how it's commonly used. Putting that portafilter support back in and turning that grinder back on, if we look through the menu, we've got 4 different settings, so 1, 2, 3, 4, with different timing. Now to adjust the time, super simple, hold the button until it flashes, and then one by one, to say we wanted, call it 16.2, would go up to 2, press it in, go up to 6, leave it at 1, hold it down, and we're now set. So super quick to adjust between times in all 4 settings, and you can grind on demand by hitting the start stop, or obviously with your portafilter. So in this case, we're going to grind 16.2 seconds. We're roughly adjusted in, we've dialed it in earlier. Give me 1 sec, I'm actually going to measure they say that this grinder is quite quiet, I believe around the 80 decibels, so we're just going to measure it while we grind it out. So we had it super close to the grinder. It looked around the 82 to 83 decibels, which is quite low for a home grinder. We can obviously weigh it, check our coffee, and dial it in even further. We were testing it earlier, and we were getting a variance of about 0.2 of a gram between shots. So when we dialed it into 20 grams on a different setting, we were getting anywhere from 19.9 to 20.1, 20 to 20.2, around there, so it's a very accurate grinder. Looking further into it, you can adjust the settings super easy, but you can also activate the Wi-Fi. At the moment, there's no app, but you can log in from a computer and basically see the analytics, how many coffees you've ground, is there any error codes, etc. Kind of geeky, kind of useful. I'm not sure how often we'd be using it in a home environment, but the option's there. With the hopper, they've done something new, which is the hopper support here is actually what activates it being locked in to be removed. So once you cut the beans, you can remove the hopper. The grinder only works with the hopper installed. So you can't actually do like a niche grinder where you're just doing single dosing, but effectively, that's not what this grinder is built for. So with that said, I believe that the neck of the grinder only holds a small amount of coffee, around the 5 to 7 grams. So the retention's quite low between shots. Looking at it further, the tray comes out easy for cleaning, and it really is a home grinder. Basically, super consistent. We're looking at it, the particle size seemed very consistent, but we would have to really put it through a curve or something and analyze it to see the variance. Just gonna punch out a few quick dot points on the X54. So as the name suggests, 54mm blades, 1050 RPM motor, 500 grams hopper. It's 42.5 centimeters tall and it weighs 5.1 kilos. They just give you a bit of an indication of what you're looking at from a numeric standpoint. I promised a quick history on Mahlkonig, and here it is. So this is a Mahlkonig EK43, which you would have seen in most cafes, coffee roasteries, specialty cafes. It really is a hero staple of the coffee world. It actually came about with a funny story. Mahlkonig have been making grinders in Germany since I think the 1920s. Grinders for all things, spices, wheat, coffee, etc. And they actually weren't that popular. The EK was about to get phased out, and the EK not only came as this format, but it came as an EKK, which was basically a grinder facing each way, like dual head. And later down, they did the EK43S, which was a shorter version, and that really came about because people were modifying it to run them shorter. But these grinders were basically retail coffee grinders. So you put in your coffee, put a 1 kilo bag in there, and just grind away. There was a cafe owned by Scott Rowell that was using these grinders and really getting high yields out of it, high coffee contents, TDS. And an Australian called Matt Perger had been in that cafe and really asked questions and fell in love with the extraction that Scott was getting. Basically, Matt competed in the World Barista Comps, used the EK, the rest is history. Since then, they did not discontinue them, now they can't even produce enough of them. It feels like every cafe in the specialty world has one. People have modified them, they've gone shorter, they've put different dial plates on them, different blades have been made, like companies like SSB have done red-coated blades. There's so many, because they're original retail coffee and people using them for espresso, things like Titus put in mechanisms to shut and open the enclosure here, and you can Google it, you can watch other YouTubes. There is just so much out there on the EK. And from that, the brand Mahlkonig really made its huge presence in the specialty world. And now we have sitting in between these, the E65S, the E65 grind by weight, the E80 Supreme, and now the X54 home grinder. Like Mahlkonig are saying, the king is home. They are the king of the specialty world, and this is their new baby. So that's a brief history. Explain to you why this machine is so popular among the coffee lovers and coffee geeks out there, because it's a baby of that beast. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us for all the reviews coming out, not just on these grinders and the grind by weight, etc., but for a whole range of products. We're pumping out 2 to 4 reviews a week, so hopefully you're liking the content. I'd also love to know, do you have an EK43? What do you think of it? Are you waiting for the X54? What grinders do you have? Let us know below. I'd love to gauge the feedback of what's happening out there. Once again, thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe, hit the notification now. See you soon.